My name is Casey Oshesky, and this is my presentation on human relations in organizational communication. First off, my situation. Flight attendants prepare for an increasingly violent world 30,000 feet up in the air. Unruly passenger behavior has reached new heights. For example, a passenger punched a Southwest flight attendant and knocked out two of their teeth during one of their flights. The Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, has issued more than $1 million in fines to unruly airline passengers. According to CNN, alcohol is an often cited contributing factor. Travelers drink at the airport and board the plane without crew, even realizing how inebriated they are. So, what is being said about organizational communication in the airline industry? Most commonly cited offense is being rude to flight attendants, which comes at a staggering 72%. There is an industry-wide no-fly list. This is for disruptive passengers and also includes no to-go cups for alcohol on flights. According to Axios, quote, airlines want to see tougher penalties and a coordinated response to violent behavior. They also said flight attendants have one message for everyone who touches aviation and the lawmakers charged with oversight of our industry, and that was make it stop. One last quote from Axios is it is a much more difficult work environment for a flight attendant than it was in the past, said Alaska Airlines Senior VP Diana Burkett Rackow. And now here's a little video on what this industry is going through at the moment.
At Fidelity, your dedicated advisor will work with you on a comprehensive wealth plan across your full financial picture. A plan with tax-smart investing strategies designed to help you keep more of what you earn. This is the planning effect.
New data from the FAA shows just how bad the problem is when it comes to unruly passengers. They just announced another proposed $124,000 in fines, bringing the total number of proposed fines this year for unruly passengers to 563,000. This week, you're seeing the FAA and the airlines ramp up pressure to bring more public attention to this issue, with the airlines and airline unions sending a letter to the Attorney General saying these incidents pose a safety and security threat to our passengers and employees, and we respectfully request that the Department of Justice commit to the full and public prosecution of onboard acts of violence.
We implemented, as you know, a zero tolerance policy earlier this year about unruly passenger situations on commercial aircraft. And it's really important for everyone to understand that, as a former commercial airline captain, if I'm flying the airplane, you don't want me distracted by situations in the back of the aircraft. So, we have zero tolerance for these issues. We are reaching out to the public in different ways through your show and through social media. But we have to correct this because we have the safest aviation system in the world. We want to make sure that it stays that way.
Now, the FAA doesn't take action on all of those. They investigate them, but they have taken action on many of them. 75% of the cases involve passengers refusing to wear their masks or mouthing off or pushing back when it comes to the requirement that you wear a mask on the airplane. And in 60 of the cases, at least 60 of the cases, there was a physical assault.
And there can also be jail time, if there's these type of assault issues that we have. But the bottom line is you've got to follow the instructions of the flight crew. If I'm your captain, you don't want me distracted flying the aircraft. You want me to be focused on things like dealing with weather and fuel and getting to our destination safely. And that's what we've all got to work together on.
the new efforts from the FAA to draw public attention to this, including a tweet they just sent out where they basically mock the people who are not considering acting appropriately by saying, if you wouldn't act like this at your grandmother's house, why would you act like this on an airplane?
So as you saw in the video, the FAA is taking precautions to sort of limit and eventually get rid of the nonsense happening on airplanes in terms of unruly behavior. Moving on to contemporary organizational life and the consequences of this discourse. Penalties for such bad behavior on flights include heavy fines or jail time, and both of those penalties are under the zero tolerance policy that is put in place by the FAA. A lot of people underestimate their ability to manage themselves when under the influence. They have the potential to be put on a no-fly list if their behavior continues over time and happens on numerous flights. And this also makes life very difficult for flight attendants who already have to put up with a difficult job, not only dealing with hundreds of passengers on their flight. Some theoretical perspectives of this situation is to, one, make smarter decisions before getting on a flight. This could include less drinking and knowing your limits. Second is understand the job flight attendants have. Flight attendants already are consumed with other people's business, and it's best to respect their duties because they have a lot of stuff to get throughout the entire flight. And lastly is understand the risks at hand before drinking too much and reaching your limit, because there are fines and possible jail time with your situation.